I swear to God, this is my sixth time doing this. I need to get me a cigarette. This is ridiculous. I get calls in between here. It's technical, logical problems on my computer. I don't know what happened, so I got to go to my phone. Oh, I'm so frustrated about this. Hold on, I gotta get me a cigarette. I'm gonna hold on. Shit. Oh. So anyway, every year the Essence, the magazine has a music festival every year, and they have an African CEO. And in my opinion, whatever your ethnicity is, that's your people. You're gonna support them. And so this year she brought in a lot of Africans from Africa, which is fine, but forgot about the Black Americans who Essence Magazine was started by and for Black Americans. She forgot that. And because of that, ticket sales were low. They did very poorly. There were scheduling conflicts with the artists. It was so disorganized, and they lost a lot of money. And they forgot about Black culture. Essence Magazine was started from Black Americans, not Africans. And it is a distinction. It is. If you know, you know. Let me make sure that so like my son taught me always to start with AI. I'm gonna tell you, this AI something else, babe. Ain't gonna be no jobs. So the AI overview says the Essence Music Festival is not considered to have failed entirely, but faced significant organizational problems, notably in 2025, leading to low attendance because you didn't promote Black Americans. Essence Magazine was started by and for Black Americans. Production issues like extreme scheduling delays, a perceived loss of focus on African American Black culture, and decreased funding from the state of Louisiana. These factors contribute to dissatisfaction among attendees and artists, including a controversial shift in a cultural focus towards broader Pan African inclusion rather than its historical Black foundation. And that's why you failed, because it wasn't started by Africans, it was started by Americans. Attendees reported poor organization, weak logistics, and a chaotic, stressful environment behind the scenes. The 2025 event saw massive delays, with a major concert featuring Lauryn Hill running so late that most of the crowd had left by the time she took stage at 2:30 a.m. The Louisiana state significantly reduced its funding to the festival, contributing to lower hotel occupancy and overall attendance. The continued presence of Target as a sponsor, despite the company's financial troubles and controversy, caused backlash among attendees. A major point of contention was the festival's perceived shift from focusing on Black American culture to a more general festival of culture with a broader Pan African theme. This left some attendees, particularly Black Americans from the South, feeling sidelined. Some reports suggest that the festival is not sufficiently supporting local Black owned businesses in New Orleans. Excuse me. A key aspect of the event's cultural significance. Hotel occupancy rates for the event decreased and attendees attendance was reportedly low. Both artists and attendees expressed disappointment with the operational deficiencies and disruption to the audience experience. Artists and commentators called for a comprehensive review of the festival's organizational structure and operational management to improve future events. While not a complete failure, the 2025 Essence faced a crisis of identity, organization, and funding, leading to a widely perceived decline from its historical cultural significance. So she should be let go. They need to replace the CEO because obviously the people who she had organizing this event, did not, or was this her call? She got to take responsibility for that. Now, Ebony Magazine goes on to say, oh shit, I don't know how this happened. When the 2025 Essence Festival of Culture started last weekend in New Orleans, it was precisely what it has always been, a homecoming, a cultural pilgrimage, a sanctuary of Southern rooted Black joy. But for many attendees in the sea of vibrant Blackness, a familiar tension made its way to the surface. Festival goers took to social media to voice concerns of the myriad of production issues, including what felt like an erosion of the festival's Black American focus. The presence of more Pan African inclusion left some feeling sidelined. TikTok creator Deja captured this sentiment. Instead, it became a space that uplifts everyone else, Africans aside from Black American heritage. That shift started to feel really intentional. It was. You have an African CEO. More criticism quickly spiraled with the loudest views spewing xenophobia. Man, listen, it is what it is. It was started as a Black American magazine for Black Americans. You were included sometimes, but you didn't start it. Essence Festival used to be a celebration of Black American culture. The culture is ours. The culture that we built from the ground up. The culture in Black Americans influenced the world, though, has now been co-opted by a bunch of Africans. A bunch of Black Americans are not feeling it. Africans don't set culture for this world, and that is a fact. You don't. We do. Until Essence Festival gets back to the Black Americans who created it, like I've been saying, and founded it and led the culture. That's a fact, and that's where you messed up. It will continue to fail with those Africans in charge, said digital media entrepreneur Rob Smith. That's a fact. By the end of the Essence Festival of Culture, which was celebrating the 31st year of production, the calls for accountability and culture specifically turned into heated debate and controversy across social media, podcasts, and op-eds with some calling out xenophobia undertones and others standing firm on the importance of protecting sacred cultural ground. But it raised a deeper question. Is there only room for one version of blackness in spaces created to honor the full range of the black diaspora? That's a good question. No, they can be included, but it's to uplift black Americans first. And because you are immigrants to America, you come in second. You don't take over. That's why it failed. Since 1995, Essence Festival of Culture organizers declared the event as a living, breathing, special expression of Black culture. It's a praise break wrapped in a protest. It's a love letter to people who endured Middle Passage, survived Jim Crow, pushed through redlining, and still had enough strength to turn struggle into a song. But during this weekend, people raised concerns about the core narrative being stressed in favor of Pan Africanism. Social media lit up with accusations that Black American culture, especially that rooted in deep South, was being deprioritized by Essence owner Rich Lou Dennis and President CEO Caroline Wanga, both first generation African immigrants. See what I said? See what I said? And that's why you're going to continue to fail until you honor us. It was made for us, by us. Wanga reportedly went public that she's been on leave from her role and had no insight into planning this year's programming. I bet you went on leave and I bet you don't have a job. Then there was the chatter of some African voices dismissing Black American culture identity of lacking depth or tradition. Bitch, we've been here for over 400 years, and some of us didn't come on slave ships. We were already here, and that's a fact. What you mean, what culture? Y'all try to imitate and wear the clothes we got, the jewelry we wear, the swag we have in Africa, who got phones. That kind of talk from anywhere in the diaspora is dangerous. It questions the validity of Black American identity itself and suggests that there's only room for one version of Blackness to be legitimate. That's a lie, and that's why it failed, and it's going to continue to fail. At Ebony, we have celebrated a spectrum of Black voices for nearly 80 years. Yes, you have, and you haven't changed. However, the xenophobia between Africans and Black Americans is nothing new. Dr. Fourday Darbo unpacks these tensions in his research, African and African American conflicts, stereotypes, and grudges. While sharing common ancestry and skin color, Africans and African Americans are separated by myths, grudges, and ignorance. Darbo writes that there exists a simmering hostility and misunderstanding between African immigrants and African Americans, often shaped by stereotypes, cultural disconnects, and mutual misreads. This quiet tension has shown up in schools, communities, and now at significant gatherings of Black life and culture in the world. So, what now? Healing looks like truth telling. Everyone in the global Black family is carrying trauma. Colonialization hit us in different ways. Displacement left different marks. None of us got out unscathed. Dang, this is a good article. Now, who is this? Psychologist Abdullah Idiru states that what is often perceived as psychological distance and defensiveness is in many cases grief that stems from centuries of erasure, of being told you have no history, no country, no culture. For African Americans, this grief can manifest as a guardedness over identity, especially in spaces. Oh shit. Especially in spaces where lineage has been stripped by slavery and replaced with pain. For African immigrants, internalized messages about Black Americans, often shaped by Eurocentric education systems, Western media, and post colonial narratives, can create unspoken bias and distance. That is a fact. This is a great article of why I feel and will continue to feel. The 2025 Essence Festival wasn't a failure, it was a mirror. And it showed us something real, that there is still work to do, still conversations to have, still healing to be done. The goal isn't uniformity, it's harmony. Black American culture deserves to be honored without integration. That is a fact. Integration, right. African and Caribbean cultures deserve celebration without overreach. Yes. And we, the global Black family, deserve spaces where we can come together, not as strangers, but as kin, complicated, courageous, and committed to doing the work. Because no one wins when the family feuds, but when the family listens, that's when we all rise. That was a great article. They hit every freaking point. Oh my God, you can't make this up. And I know why, and I know what happened because it took me forever. This is the sixth tape. Lord God. So, what y'all think about that? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something different. Yeah, because I'm not gonna be able to. Dang, I gotta go all the way. So let me just do it this way, and then I'm just gonna delete the videos. Damn. Let's see. How did you feel when they turned the conversation because of Target and Caroline, your CEO's past involvement with Target? They turned it into a Black American versus Black African conversation, and that whole thing exploded. It's like Essence is losing its focus on Black Americans. Yeah, I mean, those are one of the. I mean, I'd love to hear how you guys think about that, but that's one of those ones that I struggle with understanding intellectually, right? For there goes that intellectually thing. It's kind of like you struggle to get intellectually because you're not Black American. That's why you struggle intellectually. And that's why I fail. You're not smart. You guys are ignorant. Or in a now viral video on a Houston news station, a woman named Nanette. Essence started in 1970. The first SFS was in 1995. Then it's 2025. It's going to look different. America's different. Everything is different. And I think it's a little bit, a little intellectually lazy just to say, well, it's an African that's leading, that owns it, and that's another one that's leading it. So they're trying to change everything. How did you feel when they turned the conversation because of Target and Well, that's why you won't get no Black support, and can't nobody make it in the business world without Black dollars, and that's a fact. Cause all we do is spend money. A lot of us don't save anything, but we spend the money. Say this. When you get on the plane coming to Essence Festival, you're getting on the spaceship going to Wakanda. Mm-hmm. When you land at that airport, you've landed in Wakanda. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are. Say this.
When you get on the plane coming to Essence Festival, you're getting on the spaceship going to Wakanda. Mm-hmm. When you land at that airport, you've landed in Wakanda.
What about I might not want to go to Wakanda? How about that part? It's in America. It's in Louisiana.
Hey guys, so I wanted to record this video because I was watching a review from one of the vendors from Essence Fest. I know we've seen mixed reviews with people, having complaints, whether they were a vendor, whether they just came to have a great time. And I just want to kind of go over those points. So one of the vendors, she made a video, I won't say the brand's name, but essentially it was a sarcastic play of, I guess, a positive review. So she started off saying, she didn't make no money at Essence Fest. And then went on to say, she got in touch with the owner of Essence Fest. She was mad that people were giving her donations. Her best friend helped her. She got floor seats. All of these things, but putting a sarcastic spin on it. So it was really positive, but it was more ways, I guess, to get people's attention. In my opinion, just from our culture, mind you, Essence Festival, they've been doing this for over 50 years. They're not new to this. I don't think that was appropriate.
Oh, you don't even know. You weren't even there. Shit. Wasn't black. That's what the problem was. That was the problem was they forgot about.
A lot of y'all are talking about what did or did not happen at Essence in your absence. But I was there, so let me give you the tea. Now, y'all know that I love everything black peopling, okay? It is my favorite genre. And Essence Fest has always been a celebration of all the black stuff that we do in the culture. It is for us, by us, and I am here for it. I had a wonderful time. It was less intimidating than last year because I had a plan, and the plan was not to overwhelm myself. That is key. If you ever go, make sure that you plan to have fun, you plan to be involved, but you also plan to rest because there's so much stuff going on. But I had such a great time. Shout out to the whole Essence team for continuing to work hard to bring Black excellence to the forefront and give us something to do in the great city of New Orleans. I can't do the accent, so I'm not even going to try. Now, before I go, I want to address something really quickly because are there going to be issues when you are putting on a huge event? Yes. It does not matter if it's us. It doesn't matter where it is, what kind of industry it is. There will be hiccups because that is life. It is messy. Things happen. And you pivot. You adjust. I really want to caution us to be careful about how we talk about things. There is always this big push for supporting Black businesses and supporting our own. But then if stuff is not exactly the way that we want it to be, if it doesn't go off perfectly, then we dragging everybody. Now, does that mean that we don't hold people accountable?
No, that was a positive spin. I'm glad she did.
Black Americans have a completely legitimate reason for being upset with Essence Festival. We have a completely legitimate reason for being upset with our culture being removed from a festival that was supposed to be for our culture. We don't have people trying to add their culture. We have Africans and Caribbeans trying to overshadow and remove our culture and center themselves. Right here, they're talking about how they want to make Nigeria the focal country because of its culture and all of this. Not representing everybody equally, hyper-focusing on them and making them the center. And the problem is we can't have an honest conversation because when we call this out, you guys are saying foundational Black Americans are being xenophobic or starting a diaspora war. Even though you know that's not true, because if we did this, if we took our flags to you guys' things, you guys wouldn't have an issue with it.
Fact.
So you know what you're doing is wrong. Black Americans have a
legitimate
reason for being upset.
I agree.
Now, y'all know I don't be in nobody's business, but
this is Pink Book Tales.
This year, next year, the year after, until y'all realize that we are Black Americans. And we do got the money, baby. But y'all not going to play in our face. We don't want fufu. We don't want jollof rice. We are not African. We are not Black Caribbean. We are none of those things. We are Americans. We have our own food, our own culture, our own music. Stop playing with our top and thinking we not going to show y'all something. We gonna show y'all. Now, if you don't get somebody Black up in there, you might as well cancel this because it's gonna be way more empty next year. We're not coming. We are not African. event, and y'all need to make it what it needs to be. Bye. Black Americans are not happy with the 2025 Essence Festival. Many are speaking up about the growing Africanization of what has traditionally been a Black American cultural event for decades. This shift has been noticeable for a few years now, especially since Essence Magazine and the Essence Festival came under African leadership. In recent years, we've seen the festival slowly morph into something else. Something that feels more like an Afrobeats festival than a celebration of Black American culture. We've seen attempts to reframe New Orleans natives as Caribbean or to claim that New Orleans food is African food, but let's be clear. New Orleans food is New Orleans food. It's Black American, period.
Come on.
But this year, many Black Americans chose not to attend. Why? Because they see what's happening. They see the erasure of Black American identity from our own cultural spaces, and it's not okay. To make matters worse, at the Montreal Convention Center, named after Ernest Morial, the first Black mayor of New Orleans, a man who was a proud Black American, a building not just named after him, but built under his leadership, there wasn't a single American flag displayed inside the expo, inside of that building. Meanwhile, flags from various African nations were hanging proudly. Even
Wow.
not one American flag.
Wow.
And this happened on American soil in a Black American city inside a building honoring a Black
Come on.
American man.
Come on.
This kind of oversight or disrespect would never be tolerated in another country. You couldn't go to Nigeria, Jamaica, or Ghana and throw a festival that completely ignored the people of that land, their identity, and their history. But here, it's happening and it's way out of order. This is deeper than aesthetics or music. It's about cultural respect and historical truth. Essence Fest was built by and for Black Americans, and it should reflect that. But it's not, and that's why support for Essence is going down. Culture means earth, motherland, Africa, originality. So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source. Thank you. This is an example of how many people feel the way that they do. She has not once acknowledged Black American culture. That's disheartening because this festival is specifically for Black Americans. We're welcoming of all communities, but why can't we get any shine or recognition or acknowledgement for what this festival was meant for?
Right.
Once again, to anybody that's African or Caribbean, love everybody in the Black diaspora. A lot of people that are native to New Orleans have spoken up and said that this display of the Essence Festival is a disrespect to what they've grown up to know it to be. A lot of local vendors that have produced a lot of great food are not showing up there, so people are not actually getting the New Orleans experience. And it's, once again, no disrespect. It's just with our experience as Black Americans, we don't get a lot of opportunities to just celebrate the work that our ancestors have done and what we are contributing to our future. For those who didn't peep what was going on in that last clip, some Nigerian ladies at Essence were talking, going around a circle, asking, "Oh, what are you?" Translation, "Who your people?" So they're talking about tribes, and they started laughing at the Black American woman in the group who said she was Black American. And they're like, "Yeah, by way of Georgia." So they started laughing at her, saying, "Oh, you're just Black American." Like, excuse me? No, not while you're on American soil. None of this disrespect will be tolerated. We wouldn't go to Nigeria and say, "Oh, what are you?" "Oh, you're just Nigerian." Like, what? It's straight up disrespect. And then look at the kickoff event. They went to a Black American school, Xavier University, shout out to Xavier, a prominent HBCU in Louisiana, to host the Battle of Jollof Rice versus Jambalaya. Yeah, look at it. It's a Jollof versus Jambalaya.
Wow.
All sponsored by an American corporation, AT&T. They marketed this event as a showdown between West Africa and New Orleans. Look, this came from the official Essence Festival. Why is this happening? Because like I told y'all last year, Essence Magazine and the festival, from the festival chairman to the CEO of Essence to ownership, it's African. This is why they come up with stuff like this when Black Americans don't even eat jollof. It's a tone deafness for me. It's disrespecting our culture because you don't even like us. Y'all have absolutely no respect for Americans. When we wanted to be African, y'all reminded us over and over.
But you brought your black ass over here when you should go back to Nigeria, go back to Ghana, go back to Zimbabwe, go back to Benin, go back to Senegal, go back and make your country great. You came all the way over here to disrespect black Americans, most who were already here. Everybody didn't come over here from Africa, and nor was a slave. There were free black people during slavery. Black Indians. You know, I'm just saying this is ridiculous. Go back to your own shit. I ain't trying to identify with no African at all. I'm not. I'm not. Even though I respect like Dr. Ben and Dr. Chip, oh my God, Chip Diop, because I got all their books. Love them. But y'all the most disrespectful when it come down to black America, and you think that I'm supposed to give you, I'm not giving you shit. Go back home.
Again, how we're not as good as y'all. We don't know where we come from. We have a white man's last name. We're ratchet. We're ghetto. So let us be ratchet and ghetto in peace. If I wanted jollof rice, I'll go to an African convention. But nothing about Africa is even interesting to me. I don't want to dress like y'all. I don't want to dance to y'all music.
Right.
I don't want to buy your oils or your mixed sticks.
Right.
I don't want y'all jealousy braiding my hair, throwing curses into my scalp. This is America. I'd much rather learn slave history. Because at Essence Fest, we should be having a battle over the best fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. I don't know. So just like you're proud of female circumcision, we're proud of hip hop. African people are taking over the Essence Festival with the intentions of selling African culture and heritage, okay? They're trying to sell black people African culture and African heritage. They really feel like that we are lost and we are confused on where we come from. The enslavement of African people lasted for 400 years, over 400 years, okay? There's nobody on this earth who's going back 400 years finding relatives and trying to figure things out from 400 years.
Right.
It's purposeless, right?
Right.
My ancestors came from St. Helena, South Carolina. Just to let y'all know. And it's a lot of information on my great-great-great-great-great-grandparents and my great-uncles and great-aunts. It's a lot of, it's black excellence, okay? And they try to push this narrative from now to slavery or the enslavement of African people, and that's not how that works. The enslavement of African people lasted over 400 years. Within probably 200 years of the enslavement of African people, the African-American race started to begin because of the violence that enslaved Africans were enduring. But let's not take away from the fact that African American people have been around for a very long time.
Right, and take your ass back home.
If you want to try to come in and colonize the new generation,
come on.
I just think that y'all should sell something that black people are wanting and willing to buy. Stop thinking that we are insecure about our culture. Our culture is recognized all over the world.
Fact.
African American people, there wouldn't even be the culture in Africa. While y'all are hooting and hollering.
Y'all in Africa trying to dress like us, wear jewelry like us. Then when you make it in with the Afro beats, you come over here. No, we don't. I personally don't really care about, I care about African issues, don't get me wrong, but about the culture, I really don't. I'm American. I care about my culture here. And my thing is, but you guys come over here, you are just like the white folks. You believe that you are better than us, and you come over here. So now Essence Magazine is owned by an African, CEO African, and you introduced, but you forgot the fact that Essence Magazine was started by us, for us, not you. We included you in because of history, but to say that we don't have a culture, we don't, and a tribe, bitch, we ain't got no tribe. We ain't from the jungle. Ain't no jungle in America. Shit, that part. Shit, and that's why the white folk said you was uncivilized. Shit, that part. And don't let me go there, but I would have tore her ass up if she would have said that to me. Do you hear me? Listen, lady, you should have stayed in your own country to make it great. That's what you should have did. And to build up your own country, but you travel over here. How about the fact? Yeah, I am very hyper. Yeah, well, whatever. It's my thought. And the fact that you leave Africa, you get on a boat, and then you go to Europe. You go to France, you end up on the island off Sicily, you end up in Britain, you go to Britain, England. You leave your own country, your own land, and you take a boat to be an illegal immigrant in Europe. You go back to your colonizer who came and took your land, split up the map, renamed Africa. You got Victoria Lake after Queen Victoria. I mean, you got Rhodesia named after Cecil Rhodes. And you leave your country that you could make great and you migrate over to Europe, your colonizer. You ain't got a shit. You can't say shit to a Black American. Because as far as I'm concerned, you weak as fuck. You weak as fuck to go back and run to your colonizer who colonized Africa. And now you got the Chinese over there who's colonizing it as well. And beating y'all at the jobs. Literally whipping grown men. The fuck? No, you need to respect. We do have a culture. And you need to respect that. So y'all done pissed me off. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.